very difficult to start by when the screen says time's up. so, so what I'm going to do is I think whatever I wanted to say, my previous panelists, they have spoken. So Anna Roy, she spoke about all the facts and the numbers, figures and everything. Sanjay sir spoke about the history of the entire genesis of the entire digitalization in India and the experiences and the global. So I'm going to actually talk about which the consultant does the best is the future. Let's look at the future part of it. What we are going to call it as a decade. What is this decade and what should we do this decade with? Okay, so the next 10 years, can we do something different from the last so many years and make this as something which is, and somewhere which was coming out of the entire discussion is, can India move from the, it's a net exporter of software, but can it be a net giver of solutions and IP to rest of the world? Can that be the kind of a target and the motion, because that will change the way in which we do. And it's not about how many IPs I build, how many software firms I'll construct, but it's about how many platforms in open source technologies I build and give it to the rest of the world, which will run on this. Bheem, which is the UPI, was one of the first example, or Aadhaar stack is the second example. But can we do more about it? So I thought, let me put two perspectives where we actually lack today, and that's where can we build on that. One is I think our system which allows us to build a lot of these platforms and technologies is great. There are people sitting out here and outside, they have build a lot of infrastructure, tech build stacks and all those things, that's there. But where it lacks is the policy and the technology not going hand in hand. The policy is still lagging behind the tech here. So while everyone says a water tech or a urban tech or a travel tech, I want to actually say, I think the era has come for a policy tech. The policy has to actually think about a process or a program implementation getting disrupted with digital. It's not about delivery of a service, it's about how the outcome will be there because there is a disruption which is evident. It is not for today because the policy has to be written for tomorrow. Okay, I'll take a small example. I think in this room we have experienced a word which is called less paper office. 10 years down the line, we had 10. And a lot of offices we claim, and I saw Dubai is calling themselves as paperless office. It's good, but can we imagine a paperless and no only tablets and everything? Then what is that a person in the government department will do if there is no other thing which is other than the digital work which is already on the apps and the applications, and citizens are directly accessing through the data. The platforms which are developed by the software is enabling them to manipulate the data and get their certificates, get their provisions and all this. Then what is the work which the government will do? Is the Ministry of IT will convert into a Ministry of Data? So I think what Anna Roy left is a data rich to data intelligence. I would actually like to add, is it going to be a Ministry of IT or a Ministry of Data going forward? Because it's not an IT or intelligence systems. You are not responsible for building those systems. You are supposed to actually let the industry build that and open it up for rest of the people to experience that and take it forward. The second part of it is, I'll move it to is, how do we actually convert? And I think this is where coming from the COVID pandemic has actually moved us towards this. We were happy with citizen service centers, and I'm very, very fond of the way in which Dr. Tyagi has built up the entire citizen service centers across India. But are we satisfied with that? We have experienced the e-sevas, or we have experienced the Sampark project or Suvidhas or the common service delivery models, or we have experienced those apps which provide you certificates, Umang or any other app, or are we happy with the super apps which, for example, a Tata builds for a new or anything? Where is it taking us? It is taking us towards something which is the most interesting thing, which we can actually see, but we have not still named it, is the experience. Today we are not looking at only an outcome. I need a beautiful outcome. I want an outcome which is not only right, I want the outcome which is also appreciated and it's good. I don't want a passport which is just delivered in 5 days. I also want that process to be highly enriched. I want to come out of that entire process happy. I just don't want the tick in the box is not getting a passport. Tick in the box is how fast and how seamless and experienceful was that process. So the pandemic has actually even further moved the needle towards an experience which is a digital experience of tomorrow. How do I actually cater to the citizens, and which is youth? And Sanjay ji has a very difficult task because a large number of youth, they are unsatisfied not because they are not getting the service. They will get happy or they will be content with getting the service, but they will be happy if they get that experience out of that entire service delivery. They will become a kind of a catalyst in taking it forward if they have a better experience. So I think the next part of the decade is all about building platforms which talk to each other on open standards and open source, which the government will allow it as a usage based, but creates an experience for everyone, taking into a view a policy which is built not for today, but built on assuming that there's going to be a disruption, which digital will bring, and integrating that with something what we call as the people of today and the tomorrow. I rest my case here. Thank you so much for giving me this time. Thank you.